Hello, everybody. We are back here on Farming Simulator 17, the Lone Oak map. Beautiful map created by Bullet Bill. There we are, back at the truck. We left off in the last episode. We were hauling bales. We're done baling. If we look at the little, just above the clock at the upper right-hand side, we have 1 hour, 1 3/4 hours to get all of our straw bales hauled. I'm gonna try to accomplish that. Oh, except I can't see coming out of here. One peril of driving out of cab. But you know what? I think we'll manage to get the job done. As I was starting the episode tonight, I had a thought. You know, as the map was made for Farm Sim 17, as Bullet Bill got it out there and people learned, who Lone Oak was. I think I've mentioned this before. I was just amazed. You go onto YouTube now, you do a simple search for Lone Oak, and there are just tons and tons and tons of videos available. Well, what I've also learned is there is a local, actually, I think it was my uncle that told me this, who's part of Lone Oak, one of the owners. There was a local photographer who visited Lone Oak Farms. I kind of think it was a couple years ago now, and took some. He had a drone, so he took some drone footage. He rode inside a combine, I think, during harvest, and got some footage there. He rode in a truck that was hauling seed. Also picked up some footage there. Boy, it's hard to see these bales kind of at this angle. So anyway, I just thought about it and wondered, if people are interested in seeing any further uh, information on Lone Oak, or to see even some of the people that work on the farm in their their natural habitat, if you will. I still have scads of pictures to share, uh, at some point, although I really don't know how bored people get of this, seeing some of this. I've tried in this. It really isn't a Let's Play series, kind of in the traditional sense. It's more a, oh, actually, let me do something here real quick. I forgot to start my timer. Oh, and that kicked me out of the game, but here we go. I don't know if I'm up to 30 minutes, and here I started already and I forgot to hit my timer. Oh well, such is life. Whoop! Okay, I think I was trying to be a little realistic, so I'm not going to go to the fourth layer. I will take this to sell, even with that one extra bale on there. So there's this local photographer, like I'm saying, and he got some footage. I think it's about 15, 16 minutes, so we're not talking a huge amount of footage. What I will try to do after this episode is put a link down in the description to his channel. I don't know this fellow, I've never met him. I just happen to know that he took some footage out there, so you might want to check him out. He also, if you want a picture of agriculture in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, I don't know where he's located, but all I do know is he's taken footage of a lot of Lone Oak's neighbors, so he must be somewhat close by. One particular neighbor is just off the Lone Oak map, kind of to the southeast. Let's see if I can swirl around this. Oh, we would never pass a guy like that in real life. Narrowly avoiding an accident. Let me get down here so I can see a little better. And I gotta turn in here to go. Previously I was kind of driving down here around north, and I think it's quicker coming the way we've been going. Although, I gotta say again, there was a barn over here. I don't remember what color it was. I thought it was red, like most traditional barns, but honestly I don't even remember. Uh, but you would never come in here like this. We would come in the opposite way we're going right now. There was a road that came in here. Oh, let's see if I can get out here. Probably should swim. Oh, boy, gotta be careful. Watch. So again, I'll leave a link. His name, I think, is Crop Chaser Patrick. So, yeah, he has a number of real life footage, and yeah, check him out. He's doing the real stuff, and I'm showing you all the fake stuff. Yes. You know, I smile every time I go by this taco stand over here. What a deal. Kind of bullet bill sense of humor and poking some fun at someone on, I think, the Giants forum, who, in his words, I think, heckled a lot of map makers. I guess some people need to do that, and apparently he was pretty good humored about it. Now he's famous, right? Gets his name on a taco stand in a map by Bullet Bill. It's kind of fun coming in here in game and picking up these bales just outside my home. And I know a few episodes ago I provided some footage of them baling and stacking bales kind of around my home, which would be similar to what they would do on Lone Oak. Well, today when I got home from work, I noticed the bale stacks were gone. So someone's coming around to get them, and yeah, it's just in today, as I record this, we're into September already. I can't believe how quickly the summer seems to have gone, and yeah, time just keeps its steady march forward for sure. So I haven't talked to my cousins, haven't been up there since early windrowing, so I'm not sure what they're doing at this juncture. It's very likely they are also maybe have bales in the field, probably working on getting them out. I just spent several episodes talking about grass seed cleaning. I have no doubt they're running their cleaner, trying to get that part of it done. Although in the old days, it was said, you basically have, oh, look at the ad, I'm stacking too many up. You know what, let's just finish the fourth layer off so it doesn't look weird and so those bales don't get all lonely. Yeah, this would, I don't think we would do this in real life, nor would we take a loaded truck like this across this slope. So, everybody close their eyes, so you know when I'm doing this. But on the cleaner, I think after the last episode, maybe people have heard plenty and seen all the pictures ad nauseum. But I did go back, I made some notes, and I didn't cover all my notes, not that anybody particularly cares. Most of what I have left is kind of just what to me are amusing anecdotes, if you will, from working up there, things that happened, things that anybody could say about a farm or place of work wherever you work. I mean, just stuff that happens. And shoot, I could have several episodes alone on all the, oh, I guess I'll call them accidents, mistakes, things that happened, a good lot of them my own. Um, oh, I guess, well, hold on. I missed my turn off because I'm yakking. So I'll turn in here and we'll just turn around the other way. I almost think the visibility's a little better coming the other way anyhow. We come through these trees. We are racing the clock just like in real life, but I'm telling you, we're gonna whip it. Boom. And we're making a little bit of money while we're at it, which is a good thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it gives people opportunity to laugh at me. Oops. In real life, we would have cleaned that little mailbox right off at the ground. Oh well. Gotta hang up on something in here. Maybe one note I would say that's perhaps of general interest on the cleaner. I'm not going to go back and show any more pictures. I'm just going to keep after these bales till we're done and then start doing the fall field work. Um, but one thought I had was just a comment on rain. You know, during the summers, we have very little rainfall. I can't remember if I've shown kind of the weather profile of the valley. I honestly don't remember if I showed that in an episode. Maybe I could show it again. Um, but we get very little rain in the summer, and that's what allows us to grow the crops that we do, things like grass seed. Because if you put a winter on the ground, and it has ripe seeds in it, and the intent is to let it dry, well, you're going to need some dry weather to accomplish that, right? So the more rain you would have, particularly if it's high temperatures, the more likelihood you would have of germinating the seed and screwing up your crop. So we don't get much rain in the summer, which is really good for when you have seed. And this grass seed is really light, fluffy, some of it, and it doesn't flow as easily as a wheat or corn or some of the heavier cereal grains, do. So when the seed cleaner was put together, hey, look at that. We finished getting all of our bales in. We made it, and we had an hour and a half to spare. So the grass seed cleaner needs to be designed with that in mind. I'm not saying they dug out a protractor and looked at every single pitch of every pipe to make sure it was a proper angle, that it would flow properly, but it definitely was a consideration. There's basically, the more vertical you can make the pipes, the more likely you would never jam up the seed in there. And there was occasionally, whoops, let me get out of your way, ma'am, sir. There was occasionally times when things would plug up in there. Usually, though, wasn't the fault of the pipe or the pitch at which it was set in there. It was probably more operator error. Maybe you let something fill up, and a pipe that was flowing into the thing that got filled up, it just started backing up, as you would expect. So that happens sometimes, but it was always good, in the construction of things or whatever you had in there to make it go use gravity as much as you could. There's a reason they had all those bucket elevators in there to help facilitate movement of seed clear up to the top of the building so it could fall, wherever it needed to go. And there we go. Bales are sold and done. If I'm not mistaken, checking on my map here, I don't see any more bales. So we've got them all. Oofda. Yeah, I'm pleased that we were able to beat the rain. And that sometimes happens. I know that's on every farm you have that. But as rain-free as our summers are, not so with the onset of fall. We could tend to have pretty dry weather heading into the fall, but it seems like once the first rain hits, you pretty well better be done with what you got going on outside, because you're operating on borrowed time. You might have another opportunity in there to do something in the field, harvest wise, but it just becomes miserable hard the further you get into fall to get things to dry back out again. And there comes a point, once winter hits, it flat out won't dry out. We get a lot of rain over the winter, and it isn't like some places where the rain gets it in and gets it over with. No, that isn't how it's designed around here. It just spits on you. Oh, I tell you what, I think a monkey taught me how to drive, and I didn't pay attention. I have frequently jackknifed this thing. Yeah, the slope on that hill right there is actually pretty accurate. I think coming up back where we did. But I mention this because I think as everyone knows, when the rain comes, the humidity obviously is higher. And with more humidity in the air, stuff doesn't flow as nicely on tin work in the cleaner. You could notice it. I mean, the building was rain tight, the roof didn't leak, nothing like that. But you could always tell if it was raining outside or you were working in the cleaner on a rainy day. It just never seemed to flow quite the same. I mean, it would work, don't get me wrong, but it just, wasn't really the same. Whoopsie. Once again, I need driving lessons. So just a comment on that. I mean, if, in case anybody ever wondered, in the summer it would just zip down those chutes. It would, I mean, you could almost practically polish the floor with the seed. We had a concrete floor in there. I, uh, it was painted, and so there was something about how they painted it, the way the dust wouldn't really adhere to it and the seed, and it just made it a dream to sweep in there. Let me go put our combine away. I know at some point we need to do maintenance, but we really don't have that many acres that we're running through this, so pretty easy at the moment. So I think I'm gonna. Where did I park this before? Did I put? I almost wonder if I put the header outside. Yeah, I think the other header's on the inside. Let's drop that. Put it away. Oh my. I would bung up the tin for sure. But there were also many bloopers that happened in the cleaner too. And I thought I would relate some of those just for fun. And maybe first off, what I'll do is tell on my cousins. This was early on. Generally speaking, I made probably the most errors. Um, my cousins were farm kids themselves. I really wasn't. I mean, I grew up in the home of an accountant, and as hard as I tried, I just made more mistakes. They maybe got their mistakes out when they were younger. They just grew up around machinery more than I had, so they tended to have a better success, shall we say. Um, but one time there was a blooper, and this happened in the cleaner. And I was just in there not that long ago, and I should have looked to see it. A couple of my cousins were goofing off, one of which that worked up there. Oh, you know what? Let me set something up. It doesn't do this. I want to try stubble cultivator. Let me see if oops, nope, nope. I gotta put it down to get it to work. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Isn't that cool? I forget what the fellow's name is, but he made this mod, Stubble Cultivator. You want to just get out of the tractor and go look at it. And bless his heart, I think it's one of those mods that he put it originally into Farm Sim 13, and he just carried it over and carried it over. And it works in conjunction with the chop straw mod. So if that's installed in the map, then it'll work. So you can see kind of underneath there's the the cultivating textures, but on top is all this straw. And maybe it isn't quite as realistic in this field because we went to effort of removing the straw. But the reason I like it is because you can end up doing another operation on the field. And I think we've talked about this before. It's pretty limiting what the Giants have in terms of field operations. When it comes to doing tillage, what can you do? You plow, you cultivate, and you plant, and that's it. Then you can harvest, you can spray and fertilizers, kind of putting down the same texture, if you will. There's not that many things you can do. Well, what I've found is you can cultivate this and put down this layer that you see on here, this chopped straw layer over the top of cultivation. Oops, that ain't gonna work, bud. And then you can come in behind it and cultivate it again. And the next time you cultivate it, it will be the regular cultivation textures, if you will. So it feels like you're doing something extra in the field. And I don't know how it is where some of you live and what the farms may do there. I realize there's some folks that operate on no-till. I think I've commented on that before in here. It just hasn't been done or doesn't work very effectively in these hills. There's many, and even down in the valley, I don't see much of it at all. There's a lot of tillage that takes place, and oh, what's it doing? Yeah, you always wonder how this is gonna. I maybe should have set up a course play for this, but you know what we're gonna do while I'm yammering? There's no reason why I can't just do this manually. Look at that. I know how to drive too. So by having this extra layer, I don't know, for me it adds a little bit of extra enjoyment because I get to do more in the fields. Um, and I know on the farm up here, kind of like I've described before, oh, that's right, I'm digging up rocks. Alright, so I'm going to end up having to pick some of those up here. You know what? Am I swinging wider than lift, fold? I just want to make sure I'm... Yeah, I could do width adjust activation too. I just want to make sure I'm not cultivating outside the bounds of the field. I can't remember if I have that mod in to where it would let me do it outside. I don't think it's doing that, but I had to check. Alright, so it looks like we're going to end up picking up some rocks while we're at it. So that'll add some additional work to do in the fields also. And this is a field that had a lot of rocks in it. Turn around the corner. Oh, there's another little rock. I guess this chopped straw is going to make it a little tougher to see the rocks. But we'll make do. And I've been wondering too if I should take out the other grass fields. We just had them for seed, but they weren't ever plowed, and I have a feeling that's going to affect the yield, so I may pluck those out of production, replant them. Maybe I can do a cereal grain in one of them. This one here, I think I previously mentioned, I'm going to plant to grass. That's what it is currently in real life. That's what it is traditionally. So that's probably what I'm going to put in here. But back in the cleaner. Oh yes, I was in the middle of trying to explain something my cousins did. I'm sorry, I get all distracted. But they were playing around on the forklift, and the forklift transmission was super simple. So simple, even I wouldn't know how to drive it. You had this one lever on the steering column. You push it forward, and the thing went forward, and it had a neutral in the middle. And if you pulled it back, the third setting, it was reverse. Like I said, brain dead, easy. Well, so they were squirreling around. I think some water maybe got into the seed cleaner on the floor and made the concrete slick. And oh, there's another rock. They were messing around on it, spinning the wheels, and the thing didn't have much traction. So they were just messing around, and I think they gathered some speed, and rather than hitting reverse and backing up and spinning the tires, I think they accidentally put it into neutral and then promptly ran the forklift with the forks right into the wall. It was close to the door, over by the little office, kind of on the lower floor, which I've shown in a previous video. And so I think the forks actually went into the grain bin that's near the office over there, bin number one. It just made a loud pop. I think they were fortunate they didn't happen to hit any of the 2x4 studs on the wall. They just just made a loud noise, and yeah, like I say, one of those boo-boos that happens on the farm. And one of the funny things is my cousin, when he tried to, quote, fix his mistake, I think he shoved bark dust in the cracks, which was pretty well worthless. So I don't know if he'll ever hear this, so hopefully he won't give me too hard of a time for telling on him. But you know what? That was one mistake he made to my 500 of them, so he can take a little bit of guff. um, that was one in the cleaner. Um, I remember this was, I think I was still working up there. There was another time, in the off season when when I was in school. I mainly worked there over the summer, and that would go until uh, second or first or second week in September, and then I would work up there only on the weekends, kind of through September, maybe occasionally into October, but not much beyond that typically. But I would come back periodically. There was fall work to do, and usually there was grass seed cleaning to do. So, I would try to come and help out on there. So there was another time that I came up, and they had a couple workers in the cleaner, and I wasn't helping in there that particular day. I just remember one of my uncles going in there with me, and he was really ticked off because I guess these other workers, they were learning, and let's just say too, their first language wasn't English. So I have a feeling whatever instructions my uncle tried to give them may have just flown right by them, if they didn't understand or comprehend enough. There was a few things you had to know. I think I showed a picture of the pit in there, that would come off of the floor auger coming out of the tunnel between the bins. And in the pit was the bucket elevator, and the bucket elevator would go up. And in those days, you had two options. And there was this cord that you had to pull, and one cord would take it to one seed cleaning hopper, and the other cord, when you pulled it the other way, would take it to the other one. And you had to know which auger up there to turn on to take it to the proper uh, seed hopper. And so if you sent it to the seed cleaner that was the clipper, and that might have been slot 2, but you turned on the auger up there for the crippen, which was slot 1, well, that wasn't going to work. So what would immediately happen is you would send seed up there. There was no place for it to go, so you'd end up plugging the bucket elevator, and it would be a royal mess. I mean, there was a time or two I was involved in cleaning it out myself, and you got to pull all the sheet metal off the floor, get down into the pit, open these hatches, start fishing seed out of it, and well, these guys plugged the whole thing up, corked it up, and they were down in there scoop shoveling seed. And I just remember being amused at the time. There was some guy in the pit. I think he could tell my uncle was pretty peeved because I gathered this had happened several times. So he was in there scooping seed out like a madman, and it just amused me as a kid to watch him do it because he was shoveling it out but not paying attention to where he was putting it. And it seemed as fast as he shoveled it out, it was falling right back into the pit. So it was basically worthless. And some of it too, as he was bending down and looking in there, the old plumber's smile, as they say, when he bent over. I mean, that poor guy later, when he got home after work, I'm sure had to clean his shorts out because he got a whole bunch of seed down his pants. So I tried not to laugh, but it was pretty funny. Who knows some of the things I may have done in there that tickled someone else's funny bone. Oh yeah, I remember this. I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh, Jiminy. There was times we ran the cleaner 24 hours a day, and I had shifts at varying times of day. There was times I ran it at night, times at early morning, times late at night, during the day, whatever. We did whatever we had to do to make things work, depending on who was there and available and all that sort of thing. Well, one morning, I think this is back when I was staying up at the farm. I used to live up there, so my parents, before I knew, had my driver's license, I just lived up there. Well, early one morning, I was going to go down and take over for the person who'd worked all night. And I don't know what time it was. This was somewhere 5, 6 in the morning. I don't recall. So I think I was going down to my uncle. Maybe was in it all night, and I was going to take over for the day shift or however that was. I don't remember those details. I do remember going down in their blue pickup truck. It was their good pickup, if you will, at the time. The farm truck, the pride and joy. Oh yeah, see how when you cultivate that more, it now removes the texture. So we'll be doing this again in here. I don't know if I'll force you all to watch it, but um, I may do it off camera. Anyway, I felt for my uncle down there that it was early morning. I figured he needed some breakfast. And so I took him a bowl. I literally filled a bowl with milk and some cereal and was going to try to balance it in the truck and keep it from spilling, as I headed down there. Well, dumb me, that's virtually impossible. And I was paying too much attention to the bowl. And as luck would have it, as I'm driving down there, there was a truck, a farm truck, grain truck, if you will, parked kind of on the side. It was parked near where the combine shed was, just past where the fuel depot is on the map, and right in there was parked. Well, I wasn't paying enough attention, and I almost missed the truck, but its big old steel bed reached out and grabbed the corner of the pickup and just left a hideous scrape. I don't think it touched the hood. I could be mistaken on that. I think you could still open and close the hood. It just barely missed it and tore up the front end of it. I had no idea, have no idea how much they had to pay to have that fixed. Well, needless to say, they weren't very happy with me for not paying attention, and to pay me back, if you will, uh, they they chose to, or at least this is kind of what I assume that they did. They drove it to church, the church we went to every Sunday, where all of our friends and family and those people were there. And I would wander, we had a lunch at our church, and me and my friends would wander out into the parking lot as we did a lot of times in those days. And oh, what happened to the farm truck? My friends would ask, and well, then I had to explain what had happened. So, I mean, they were giving it to me that whole time. And I still wonder if my uncles did that on purpose just to teach me a lesson, because they didn't get it fixed for the longest time. I mean, it seemed like months before they took it into a body shop and got it fixed. So every time we saw that on Sundays, I would just get ribbed all over again for my inept driving abilities. I'm sure I deserved it. I will say they never made me pay for it. In retrospect, I mean, they probably should have. That was really a bad mistake. I just wasn't paying attention. And when you don't pay attention, bad stuff can happen. I think I'm already over half an hour. Maybe one more story I'll just throw in. um, this happened outside the cleaner, so I guess it's kind of like the previous one. It's only loosely tied to the grass seed cleaner, but let's just say I got a lesson on the effects of nitrogen overdose. Those of us who worked in the cleaner, I mean, you're in there working hard, but nobody's a machine, so obviously you got to stop periodically, eat lunch, whatever, and, do your physical business, shall we say. Well, outside the front door, it's no longer in there, so you can't see it in the pictures. They had a row of several arborvitae plants. It wasn't really a hedge, although typically arborvitae is used in a hedge, but these were standalone, and there was a big old arborvitae standing right next to the door. And well, those of us that worked in the cleaner, when nature called and we had to take a leak, a lot of times we would zip out the door and we would just kind of point into this arborvitae bush and take care of business, and that was that. Well, I still remember getting dressed down by one of my uncles, who I don't know if he ever saw us do it, but he called us on the carpet and said, "Stop peeing in the arborvitae." He said, "You're killing it." And we were all like, "No way." I mean, nitrogen is supposed to help plants, right? I mean, it's helping it flourish. But once he pointed it out, we could see where like the whole side of the bush kind of had well, it had a growth issue, shall we say. So he said, he says, "You don't think, there's nitrogen in your urine or whatever?" He says, "See that weed down there?" So we all looked down where there was a weed. Well, he made us turn away, and he he apparently had to go, and he went on the weed. Well, I think he only did it once, and I tell you what, it was only a couple days later, and sure enough, that weed dried up yellow and killed it dead. And so let's just say we changed our habits, and we quit relieving ourselves on that particular bush. All sorts of lessons you learn on the farm, don't you know? Anyway, that's maybe just enough silliness. I think we're well past half an hour. My timer says we're over by 4 minutes, and I know I was late even getting it started, so apologize for going long. Thank you so much for coming and watching along with me as I share some memories on Lone Oak Farm. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.